Wayne, what's up, man?
What's going on, Brian? How you doing today, bub?
I'm good, man. You're acting like we haven't been talking for 30 minutes before the show goes on. I know what you're doing, man. We do it the same way every time, so we got to stick to that. I am pumped, man. As always, that intro gets me going. I've had a rough day. It has been a shit ton of work to get through the podcaster's life. I know you've been doing the same thing, but what's really been going on with you, man?
Not a whole lot at all. I was working on some editing. That's what I was doing before you and I got together. Tiffany and I had a show Tuesday night. Had a really good time over there. Guys from Odd, Virginia come and hung out. Yeah, I've been working on some stuff for the show and running some stuff by you. It's a normal day for me.
Yeah, man. I saw some of that show. I got to come on and participate in the chat a little bit, which is rare for me. I don't really have a whole lot of time to do that. But those guys seem pretty interesting. It was funny that one of them was driving and we couldn't see him. And I was like, I hope he doesn't wreck his car while he's trying to do a podcast. That would really suck. But
Yeah.
it seemed like a pretty good show, man. I think you and Tiff have a good thing going over there. If you guys don't check out Paranormal Odyssey, you got to check it out. They do live shows over there and they have some really interesting things. They're doing a ton of Bigfoot stuff. So if you're into that, all the paranormal stuff, all the cool cryptids and other things and weird shit that people see. I'm going down the chat as we're looking now. I'm a little rusty. I don't do these very often. So I'm trying to say hey to everybody. Logan, what's up, man? He is in the chat. Fortress of Flight. Hello, Ristal. How are you? Prospecting USA's Hunting America's Treasures. How are you doing? I don't know who you are, but that's a very interesting name.
It is.
I had a really interesting conversation with some folks yesterday from Squatch America, which I thought was really cool. Scott and Hannah over there. I'd never heard about them, but I'm going to be on their show. I think I'm booked out through December. So sometime in January, I'm going to be on their show. But I had a really good time talking to them yesterday. That's going to be an interesting episode coming out. Hey, Mama's in the house. What's up, Mama Jean? Michael Freeman's in the house. What's going on, man? I owe you a call. We still got to touch base. He did a gig with Todd Stanning a couple of weeks ago, and I'm laughing because some of the text messages Michael sent me, I can't wait to hear about what happened in person. I got to warn him that Todd is a special character. He got to see that firsthand when he was up doing the gig with him. So I definitely can't wait to get on the phone with Michael and talk about some of this stuff. Sorry, I'm a little giddy. So we really have kind of a free-for-all show today. I went live a couple of times across the social medias today or on the interwebs. I went on live on Facebook and Instagram and even did a TikTok live and let people know what we were doing today. So Tate Hieronymus, what's going on, man? I need to call Tate and pick his brain about the documentary stuff I've been talking about, Wayne. Glad to have you guys in the chat. I told everybody it was a free-for-all Friday on a Thursday because we don't really have a whole lot to talk about. We do have a couple of things lined up. I'm going to try to get us to the phones way earlier than we did last show, and we really want you guys to participate. We're going to do some new stuff. I'm going to run it through the computer today because we had a hard time with Wayne and the other folks hearing you guys when you were on the phone, and I was trying to play phone tag and tell them what was going on. So we fixed that problem, but you guys are going to hear the real deal. You're going to hear the ringing and the pinging and the whole 9 yards from answering the phones, but at least you'll know what's going on. One of the first things that I want to get into with you, Wayne, is something we got into. I don't know if we talked about it on air on one of the shows we did recently, or if we recorded it. It's not out. It's all starting to run together, but you had this interesting thing that you come up with. Troy, what's up? Charlotte's in the chat. Okay, I'm going to stop saying hey to everybody and concentrate.
Naoma, go, ma'am.
What's going on? Still Naoma a call. You had this weird, not weird, but I've heard this before. You had talked about this connection that people have talked about and you've talked about before with Bigfoot and horses. And that sounds really bad. I said that in mixed company the other day and somebody said, oh, great, we can get some DNA from a horse. I was like, that's not exactly what I'm talking about. Why don't you talk a little bit about that? You mentioned that to me the other day and you were talking about this weird synchronicity about people mentioning things as far as Bigfoot and horses. So what say you? What is your theory on this, or what do you got to say there?
I've been throwing it around for a long time. I brought it up quite a few times now, and so I'll do it here too. I just really think there's some connection between Bigfoot and horses, that Bigfoot are interested in them, fascinated maybe by them. And the reason that I think this, my opinion, and I think a lot of people out there would agree with me, the two best forms of evidence that we have ever had to support the existence of Sasquatch is one, the Patterson-Gimlin film, and two, the Sierra Sounds. Now, Patterson-Gimlin film was 1967. Sierra Sounds was in the 70s, I believe, not sure the exact date. But the Patterson-Gimlin film, it's always baffled me, or it used to baffle me. How were these 2 cowboys able to get this close to a huge Sasquatch in the middle of the day, just walking out in the open? And why haven't we been able to do that since? And the reason I think is they were on horseback. They'd been up in the mountains for all this time. I'm sure they stunk, probably didn't smell very good, but the smell of the horses might have been masking it. So they didn't have a shampoo or soap or deodorant smell, I wouldn't imagine, that might throw a Sasquatch off. And if they're already fascinated with horses, if Patty's up there doing whatever and she, oh shit, is that some horses? Do I smell horses? Do I hear horses? Walks out to investigate. And then before she realizes it, oh shit, there's 2 cowboys on those horses. It's time to go. Turns around and gets out of there. And then you bring up the Sierra Sounds. How did they get up there? Every time they went on horses and mules, they had pack horses that carried all their stuff up there. I'm not as confident with the throwing the Sierra Sounds in there, having anything to do with horses, but the Patterson-Gimlin film, man, I'm almost ready to say I'm confident that it had something to do with them being on horses.
I can't say that you're wrong, man, because I've heard other accounts of people talking about Sasquatch and horses. I've heard wild stories about Sasquatch braiding horses' hair. I believe that's something that Melba Ketchum has talked about in her experiences with Sasquatch. So I just popped that up there. Troy was asking, how many accounts have you heard of that included horses? Not a ton, but I know I've heard of, like I said, several. But if you just take those 2, we just did a show. It's actually coming out tomorrow as we record this on the Sierra Sounds. We talked about that during that episode a little bit. We touched on it, that they were 8 miles back in the woods, and the only way they could get to and from the Sierra camp was on horses with pack horses and mules and things like that. So is there a correlation? I don't know. I guess I ask you, I turn the question around on you. It's your theory or your thing. What do you think the fascination with the horses is? Some of the stories and some of the things that you've heard, what do you think is causing them to be, and why would they be exposed to horses to have that fascination in the first place?
Anything I say to answer that, Brian, would just be speculation. I have no idea. I don't know. Is there anything to the braiding of the horse's mane? You said Melba Ketchum, I believe, talked about that. Seemed like I had heard someone talk about people witnessing their horses being molested or possibly raped by Bigfoot. That's a touchy subject. Don't like to talk about a whole lot, but I know I've heard it. I don't remember exactly where. Is it that kind of attraction? Patty was a female. I don't know if that's what it was. I really don't know. I can't answer that question, Brian, but it just seems to me that there has to be something. I was reading Tate's response there. That's interesting.
Yeah, let me go back. I'll put that up and then we'll go back to Michael's comment. There's a lot of theories, obviously. I was trying to read what I'm going to put Michael's comment back up. Michael Freeman says, my dad in Westmoreland took horses with them a lot. So there you go. His dad had a lot of experience and a lot of things going on with Sasquatch in the area that he was in the Blue Mountains. So I don't know. I just think it's interesting because when you started talking about it, I started looking back on some of the episodes that I'd done recently and some of the interviews I'd done. And I talked to Cindy recently, and it was like a 3-hour interview. I still haven't edited any of that audio yet. It's going to be out sometime in the future. We've actually got Cindy scheduled to come back on because she wasn't finished with all of her experiences and encounters.
3 hours was not enough for that lady.
3 hours was not enough. So I told her she was a podcaster's dream. She kept apologizing for talking too much. And I'm like, no, this is perfect. The more you talk, the better the show is. So just give it all to me. But in her experiences, they were in an area and there were horses across the road from them. And she was having encounters with these things in the same areas where these horses were, to the point of hearing or seeing one of these things. I believe, as I recall, it was right behind the lean-to or the area where the horses would rest at night. So I don't know. It's a very interesting thing to me. I really don't know what else to say about it other than it's a possibility like everything else. If these things exist and they are real, have they been around horses? The Native American connection that they had with Sasquatch. That's a entire chapter of the book that I just finished is talking about the Native American history with Sasquatch and how did they have the relationships that they did. They went everywhere that they did for the most part, unless they were hunting on horseback. So, did it make it easier for them? What do you guys say in the chat? Anybody heard stories about this? Anybody have any stories that they can share about horses? Chad says if they can mind speak, maybe there's some weird connection they have with horses. That is definitely a whole nother ball of wax that we can get into at some point in time. But sure, if they're animals, I believe that if Sasquatch exists, they're some sort of an ape, in my opinion, a relic hominoid hominin of some sort. They would tend to have some sort of a connection with other animals. We're animals ourselves. So
I really think, and I don't want to speak too soon, but if somebody could put together an expedition on horseback in the right place and spend enough time, I think that's key, being out there long enough. Because how long was Bob and Roger out there? I don't remember how many days they were out there before they ran into Patty, but if you get to the right spot, have enough time, and if you're on horsebacks, that could be the perfect storm for the next great evidence. But again, it would be video evidence, and is video evidence ever going to be enough? Probably not.
I've started to wonder about that myself. And I've gotten into conversations with people about video and photographs and DNA. And there are plenty of people who are changing their minds. The folks at the North American Wood Ape Conservancy are shifting away from trying to take a specimen down. They're more into trying to get multiple sets of video of these things over and over again of individuals that they can identify, because they are starting to believe that may be the way that they need to go to prove that the species is real. It's a catch-22, in my opinion, when you're talking about like the NAWAC. They've been in that area for a decade, and they've been trying to take one of these things down. I think Daryl Collier has taken at least one shot at one of these things. If they haven't been able to take one down, there's got to be something to that, right? Either it's not Sasquatch, they don't exist, and they're shooting at the air, or there's something else going on here. They're outsmarting them because there's weapons involved. The last time I talked to Daryl, he said, I don't really take a long gun out with me anymore like I did in the past. I take my camera out because I'm really trying to get good HD quality video, not just a 5-second video, but video after video of the same individual or group of individuals that we can identify. And that may be enough over a long enough period of time to possibly get people to perk up and say, these things are actually real, right? I think there would be a whole lot that goes into that.
Yeah.
Because if video would do it in and of itself,
then we should have it already.
Then we should have it already. Yeah. I'd sued the Canadian government and used his videos as evidence. And if that's not good enough, if they thought they were hoaxed or whatever the case may be, I don't know. It's an interesting question. So we'll keep that open when we open up the phone lines. If that's something you guys want to talk about more, we'll talk more about horses. We'll talk about whatever you guys want to. I do want to get into a little bit of the latest hoaxer really to come on my radar recently that's been putting out some videos. You and I talked a lot about it off the air, and I really hate giving anybody like that a platform, but I think it's something we've made it a point that we were going to talk about on this show when we started the show. And I think we have to continue that just in the vein of transparency, because it's important, right? Because there are a lot of people out there who are buying into what these people are putting out as real. It baffles me, man. I'm sure you guys have seen some of these videos that we'll talk about. I think Wayne might even pull some up and talk a little bit about this guy's stuff. But if you guys seen the video, this is the latest one I'm about to, correct me if I'm wrong, Wayne, but the latest one, it popped up on my radar a couple of weeks ago, it looked like a crime scene, was like some pink crime scene tape.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be this, looked like a huge creature of some sort, banging a limb against a tree and then throwing a limb towards the camera. I wasn't familiar with the source of it. People started posting about it in the Sasquatch Odyssey fans group on Facebook. People were sending it to me on social media, and I looked at it and immediately said, it looks fake to me. It's very difficult to say without any kind of a backstory, because anytime somebody posts a video and it's just, hey, here's this video, my first question is, okay, what's the backstory? What am I looking at here?
Yeah.
Is this a real crime scene? Are you saying somebody staged this? There's all kinds of questions. So I went down this litany of questions in the comments, and I think it was Alex Petikoff. Alex came in and said, "Hey, pretty much case closed. It's Sonny Vader, known Bigfoot hoaxer, end of story. It's a fake video." And I was like, "Oh, okay." I just left it at that. And then I saw another video recently that came out that looked like the very same creature. I don't know where it falls in his video archive. I don't know if it's something new or if it's something older than this one that I'm talking about here. I don't know. You may know more than me. But the ultimate thing is the videos look clearly hoaxed to me. If Alex says it's a known hoaxer, I don't know how he's known to be a hoaxer or how it's been proved, but I brought it to your attention. So, how did he come on your radar? How long has he been on your radar? And what do you know about him and his hoaxing of these videos?
Think it's the very first one on his page. It's got 1.2 million views, and it's the longest one. It's 9 minutes. Yeah, when it came out, it's almost like it's too good to be true. And like you, someone, I don't remember who it was, someone said that Sonny Vader or whatever, known hoaxer, don't pay any attention to it. And the more you look at it, the more yeah, it's too good to be true. It's way too good to be true for it to be real. And my personal opinion, one thing that I feel, and I've got one pulled up here that I can share so everyone can see. I'm an avid camper. I camp a lot. I have never seen a campsite as spotless as these are. These are supposed to be a campsite from a hunter, and it's so generic. And they're all just so generic looking, and I don't know. His videos are not credible, in my opinion. Do you want to share one?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. This is one of them that I'm talking about. Just pay attention to how the campsite looks. Rug isn't even marked down, like stepped on. You ever seen a campsite look that good? And what about that Bigfoot that's pissed off behind him?
Yeah, dude, I don't even know what to say about that. He's got over 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. That's phenomenal. I think I have 2,400. Wow.
Yeah, that's crap.
Are you going to play this Angry Bigfoot or is this a different one?
No, go ahead. Just go ahead, and I'm going to take it down.
Okay.
It's just it wasn't letting me remove it for some reason.
I came across this guy who basically says catching a Bigfoot hoaxer. And he's talking about this guy getting busted hoaxing. And I thought this was interesting. So I'm going to click over here and share my screen and show this to you guys because I thought this was interesting because, again, there's not enough people. We talked about this with Brent on the show a couple of weeks ago. There's just really not enough people, in my opinion, talking about this stuff when we really should be. Because if we don't talk about it and we don't share this, because you can look down the comments, you go down the rabbit hole just like I do a lot of times with some of these comments, and you see all these comments. Oh, wow, that's amazing. Great footage. Cool footage of a Bigfoot. It's not a Bigfoot. It's him or somebody else in blackface, basically, in black makeup, running around with a big ass fur coat on, looking ridiculous. This guy over here at Mountain Beast Mysteries, I'm going to play this. This whole thing's 12 minutes, but I'm just going to give you a little taste of what this guy has been doing and what he's talking about when it comes to our friend we're talking about here and some of his
Hey everyone,
videos.
welcome to Mountain Beast Mysteries. Today I have a very interesting video where I show you guys an element of a piece of Bigfoot footage that you've probably never seen before. And that is because this Bigfoot footage was actually edited using the YouTube editor pretty much right after it was uploaded, due to the uploader noticing he had made a big mistake in his footage, his hoaxed Bigfoot footage that I luckily caught and was able to record through using my cell phone, filming the screen of my computer before it actually had changed. You guys have probably never seen what I recorded because it was edited so early on. But this video's still up on YouTube. It's by Sonny Vader. You've probably heard of Sonny Vader. He has lots of examples of Bigfoot footage that I don't know if he claims he actually recorded them or if somebody else has recorded them, but he's been around on YouTube for a while. He's a Bigfoot hoaxer. And I have some evidence here to support my claim that this guy is a hoaxer. I've told you guys before that this guy's stuff is not real. I made a video about him a long time ago when he first showed examples of this really shaggy looking Bigfoot creature hiding behind some bushes that looks nothing like Sasquatch. So this video I'm talking about, it's called Elusive Bigfoot Caught on Remote Camera. And by the sounds of it, it's a trail camera that is set up facing some trees. And if you go through the video, you see a deer hiding behind a tree conveniently. And then the deer disappears back behind the tree conveniently. And then a Bigfoot stands up from behind another tree and kind of walks around a bit. And it's complete BS. Now, you'll never see in this video the Sasquatch and the deer in the shot at the same time, ever. And that is because this guy, Sonny Vader, is the only person creating this video. He has to manipulate the deer, which is a taxidermed deer head, from behind the tree, which you can see there's conveniently a stack of spruce boughs, like on the one side of the tree, conveniently there, so he can hide behind them and hold the taxidermed deer head. He has to go from being in that position to switching and being in the Bigfoot costume, which while he's manipulating the deer, the costume is just hiding behind the other tree. It's just sitting there in position, not moving at all.
I'm not going to play the entire 12 minutes. You get a general understanding of what we're talking about here, right? It's ridiculous that people are falling for this. And it bothers me, man. I really wish people would do a little bit more background, do a little bit more digging, even if it's something I put out. Don't take anything I say for the gospel. Don't take anything Wayne says for the gospel. Don't take anything anybody says, and nowadays, especially for the gospel in Bigfoot. Do your research. Use your brain. Use common sense. Use critical thinking. Highlight things. Change the contrast on your screen. Do simple things that will show you. If somebody puts out a video and there is no context, there's no context at all. It's just, here's this perfectly set up camera of this perfectly set up campsite. And then this perfectly pissed off Bigfoot comes up and starts smacking a tent. It's probably bullshit. It's just like going along on a train out in the middle of nowhere in the flat land of wherever, Colorado. There's this Bigfoot as the train goes by and somebody's able to film it beautifully. It's not real. To say that it can't happen that way, sure it can. But I guarantee you, anybody who puts out a legitimate video of Bigfoot or a legitimate Bigfoot evidence video of footprints or anything that they find, tree breaks, whatever, there's going to be context. And if there's not context behind it, then it's probably crap. Clearly, every video that you watch of this guy, again, we go back to the pink crime scene tape. I was a cop for a long time. Every bit of crime scene tape I ever touched in my life that said caution or police on it was bright yellow. I don't know what pink tape means, but just having the context. And you mentioned something about maybe the context of that video was him saying that he and some friends had volunteered to help the police with a body they'd found or something.
What I was just about to mention. But to talk about the pink tape, Tiffany sent me the video with the pink tape, and that's the first thing I said, just like you. Isn't it supposed to be yellow? Everyone I've ever seen is yellow. So I asked her, and she looked it up. And some people do use pink. It's for like environmental. Maybe if there's someone out there that knows a little bit more, but like the forestry industry, they use pink to indicate something. I don't think it's a crime scene though. And I saw the video, the video you just played, the one he was talking about with the deer being behind it. I noticed the same thing. The Sasquatch, I think it's mainly just eyes anyway. The Sasquatch and the deer are never in the same shot. It's always, after or something. But what got me was one of his most recent videos. It starts out with the text. You never hear his voice. I don't think I've ever heard anyone or know of anyone that's ever heard him talk. But it's all text. And it says, he and his crew offered their services to the authorities, to the police, to help with this believed Bigfoot massacre of this human being. Human remains were removed by the police. He and his crew offered their services, and the police took him up on it. Who the hell are you, Sonny, to be going to the authorities, to the police, to be offering your what services? What services are you offering? Your Bigfoot tracking skills? I just don't get it, man. It speaks to, is it narcissistic delusions of grandeur? I'm so important that the authorities are getting my help to help them solve murders that were done by these giant apes in the woods. I don't know, man. I get pissed off.
It's hard not to because, again, we are in this, in my opinion, for the right reasons. And most people who listen to us on whatever podcast or whatever show you see, we try to do this in the right way. We try to present evidence in the correct way. We try to use critical thinking when it comes to these things. And I think education is key in helping other people not be gullible when it comes to these grifters and people that are perpetuating these hoaxes. And they're doing it for money. They are making money off of these YouTube videos that people are clicking on. When you can get 1 million views on a YouTube video, you're doing okay, dude. There's a lot of people that would love to have 1 million views on a legitimate YouTube video. And all you got to do is do the clickbait titles of angry Sasquatch bangs on tree, or angry Sasquatch attacks my tent in my campground with the blanket in front of the tent that's not even tramped down where somebody stepped. It's absurd. And it's just, I say it all the time. The amount of gullibility is excruciatingly obvious when it comes to some of these hoaxers and people that we've talked about on the show. It's the same thing with Sasquatch Ontario, with Mike Patterson and his channel. He's got almost 80,000 subscribers over there that are picking up everything he puts down every single week, and nobody's asking any questions, and I don't understand it. I really don't get it. These cryptic people like this Sunny dude that I've never heard of, he doesn't talk. He's not putting himself out there because he doesn't have to. He doesn't care about that. He just cares about the clicks. He cares about how many people go watch his videos. And there are a lot of people who have done a lot of work in this who will never see 10,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel after they've plugged away and done good, hard research, interviews, whatever it is, for 10 years. And it's just not happening for them. And it's really sad to me. I don't know if any of you guys know anything about him or any of his videos. You can talk about it in the chat. We'll open up the phone lines here shortly and let you guys call in, and we can talk about some of this stuff. What are you going to say, Wayne?
No, I was agreeing with you. It's so sad that people like you and myself and countless others that put so much time and effort into doing this and doing it, we're getting our asses kicked by people that are making videos like this, that are in it for monetary gain. That's it. All he cares about is how many times people click on his videos. 10,000 subscribers. And the video that I just talked about where he offered his services to the authorities, the very first fucking comment on there was, wow, keep us informed. Keep us informed with what happens. Are you serious? There's people out there that are buying this shit, Brian.
Yeah, and it's really sad to me because there are a lot of people out there that I talk to. It happened to me when I was talking to Scott and Hannah. Scott showed me on his phone. I didn't even have the recording going. That's probably why I showed it to me. I'd cut the recording off. I got the audio part because I always leave that going. He showed me on his phone, he had a picture of a Bigfoot. Actually, there's two in the picture that he took a photo of that he saw himself. And he showed me another picture that somebody had shown him. It's this kid walking on a trail. He's texting with his grandmother because she's asking him, like, where the hell are you at? You're supposed to be home for dinner or whatever. And he's playing with her back and forth or whatever. And he takes a selfie of himself looking down like he's sad because he's pissed off his grandmother or whatever. And you see what looks like a freaking Bigfoot behind him, squatted down, that he didn't see when he took the picture. He sent it to his grandmother, and she's the one who said, you need to get the hell out of there. You need to come home now, right? Scott's showing me this. It's not public. Scott was out and he did a speaking gig with Dr. Meldrum a few months after he got the photo, and he showed it to Jeff. And Jeff was like, have you made this public? And he's like, no, I haven't. I don't know. I'm going to ask him if he'll share it with me because I want to share it publicly when the episode comes out. I can't make any promises. I don't know if he will or not. I don't even know if the guy will let him. But the whole point of that is it looks like a legitimate Bigfoot, dude. It looks like a Sasquatch standing back there. And I'm like, I may be the only out of a handful of people that are going to see that because people who have the real thing don't want to do it because of people like him Sonny and all these other hoaxers, Mike and all these people who hoax crap, they don't want to be put in that box with people. So all the stuff that we'll never see, I attribute it 90% of it to some of these people that are hoaxing shit. And it really pisses me off. And the only way it's ever going to stop is we don't just come on and do this show to bitch about it because Wayne and I are butthurt because we don't have the same amount of subscribers. It's not about that at all. It's about talking about it and educating the people who listen to this show and talk to other people and share this with other people, because the only way we stop it is for them to not have any customers. If you stop clicking on the clickbait, you stop subscribing to their channel, and they stop getting paychecks because they're putting out bogus crap, that's the only time they're ever going to stop. I was trying to see what Dad Squatch posted here. Don't understand and watch that shit. All the videos are 2 hours. But it happens. He doesn't understand it. You don't understand it. I don't understand it. But there are hundreds of thousands of people subscribed to that crap across podcast platforms and YouTube everywhere. TikTok. I mean, it's happening literally everywhere. I don't know. It's one of those things that pisses us off, but it's also like a public service announcement. Like I said, I devoted an entire chapter in the book, Sasquatch Unleashed, The Truth Behind the Legend. It'll be out next year, 2024. Just a little plug there. But I devoted an entire chapter to the book on hoaxers, why they do what they do. I go into the psychology of some of the personality traits that drive people to do what they do, because again, it's not giving them a platform. It's not me saying I'm smarter than anybody else. I did a shit ton of research to write this book, but I put it in a book because you have to understand your enemy. It's just like warfare. It's really, pun intended, guerrilla warfare in the Bigfoot community at this point. We have to start fighting back for the people that are putting out bullshit. We have to know the enemy better than they know themselves for us to be able to combat that. So the narcissistic personality disorder and the thrill seeking and everything that would cause somebody to do some of the things that these people do. Financial gain is a huge one for most hoaxers. Sometimes it's harmless. Brent and I, and you talked about that on our show with Brent. Brent doesn't really call out the people who they'll do a little hoax or whatever, and it's funny to their friends. It's a prank. But when you're doing real harm, when you have an audience of 10,000 people or more who are looking and paying attention to what you're doing, you are doing a lot of people a disservice if you're putting crap out into the ecosystem. You are diluting the waters for people that are doing real research and finding real evidence and sharing real encounters. So that's what this is all about. It's really to stop those people from putting out the bullshit that they do. And they're going to keep doing it. They can put out all the videos they want. If nobody's watching, then they're not doing any harm. But people are clicking on it and people are buying it and they're eating it hook, line, and sinker. I feel like I'm on a soapbox. Somebody kicked the soapbox out from under me. Tate says, am I in this book?
Hey, Brian, Naoma had a great comment right above that one you just shared.
Where are you?
Right above the one. There it is.
Go ahead.
Many YouTube creators think they are Jim Jones. They could put anything they want out and receive adoration.
That's why we have it at the beginning of our show. There's no Bigfoot Kool-Aid drinking going on here, because that's really what it boils down to. There are people drinking the Jim Jones Kool-Aid. Bigfoot is a religion for a lot of people, and I'm okay with that. I think it's fantastic. I eat, breathe, and sleep Bigfoot, Sasquatch most days of the week because it's something I'm passionate about and I love it. But it has to be done in the right way, and it has to be done responsibly. People who are putting out these fake videos, they have to be stopped. Let's see. Pat says they can't be stopped. Yes, they can, Pat. If they don't have an audience, they will go away. If nobody is watching what you're doing, if nobody showed up to Jim Jones' compound, none of those people would have drank the Kool-Aid and died. If somebody had convinced those people that he was doing some crazy shit and he was going to kill them all with some Kool-Aid, they would have gotten away from it. And that's what we're really trying to do. I know it's a hard road to hoe. I know it's an uphill battle, but it takes all of us. I can't do a show. Wayne can't do one show. We can't do this show week after week. I can't write a book and touch everybody and miraculously make them go away. But we can start weeding them out. Because I'm going to tell you, we've talked about Todd Standing so many times on this show. I have a pretty big audience. I've been talking about Todd for years. Yet, go to his YouTube channel. 100,000+ subscribers on his YouTube channel. tens of thousands of views, sometimes millions of views on certain videos that have been out there for however many years they've been out there. No matter what we do, look at that. The magic of television. I finally changed the background to what it was supposed to be when I started. No matter what we do, it's not going to completely go away. These people are not going to completely go away into the shadows, but we can certainly cut down on it by educating other people about what's going on. There are a lot of people out there with some huge platforms that people buy into every single week. They are kings in Sasquatch, and it's built on a house of cards of bullshit stories that are made up. I'm just going to do the shot across the bow now. We have to be smart enough to say, I'm not buying into that. I'm not buying what you're putting down. I'm not buying your hoax. I'm not buying your hoaxed videos. I'm going to go consume real content from people who are trying to do the right things. Save me. I'm on the soapbox, Wayne.
You knocked me off of mine. I'm just going to let you keep going on yours, man.
I think we should have you guys save us in a minute. We got to open up the phone lines.
I was about to say, let's get to some phone calls.
Yeah, let me find the ticker here. I'm going to go into it and put the ticker up. If you guys want to be a part of the show and you want to call in and talk to us now, would be a great time. Oh, there it is. Look at there. Call in now and be a part of the show. 828-394-9191. We would love to talk to you guys. I'm going to try my best to make this as painless as possible. I think I've got the right stuff pulled up on my computer so I can answer the phones. If you want to call in now and you want to talk to us, now is the time to do it. We will keep stalling until somebody calls.
And Michael Freeman just asked if didn't you just take some sips of Todd Standing's Kool-Aid?
Oh my God, Michael, you made me spin all over my microphone. I did not sip from the Kool-Aid. No, I did go up there and I was involved in the expedition. A lot of people thought I was sipping from the Kool-Aid when I got back, and I said that I didn't hate Todd, but that's as far as it went. If you guys haven't listened to the show, we got a caller. Hold on. We're going to stop talking. Pat, what's up, man? You live on the air with us.
What's up, Wayne? Boy, where do I start? Let's see. Horses, video. I'll just kind of like opine a little bit about what you guys were just talking about, because I do have some experience with that, dealing with bigger channels. And I hear you and I feel your passion, and I've been there, but it's really hard to do. The audience just doesn't ever seem fazed by the call outs. Like, I can give you a real good example. You guys mentioned a few names, so I don't mind mentioning some names. You know, even when somebody like Zappy totally shoots himself in the foot by doing like the horrible thing he did in public, going after a grieving widow, and then he gets called out for it. Thank God somebody clipped it, he took it down, all that stuff. I mean, it was really bad, and it had almost zero effect on his channel. His followers are still by his side and very staunch. And of course, I think, everything that he does is fake too, Bigfoot wise. And so when I see stuff like that, that's an extreme example of the channel being unfazed by even such a horrible thing that, all these other goofy channels they just seem to stick around, man. Frustrating.
I guess I ask you, Pat, you've been in this game for a while, man. What's the answer here? How do we combat that?
I've kind of got to a point where I say ignore it, because at the end of the day, dude, most of it's just entertainment. It's just different forms of entertainment. One person's hoax, I could just look and kind of look the other way and say they're kind of being a part of the entertainment game. So what about these researcher channels that are complete fiction? Those are fictional channels. I stopped short from calling them hoaxers, but everything they do is staged and produced. And for Bigfoot stuff, it's not bad production. I mean, I could rattle off, half a dozen of those channels, 10,000 subscribers. It's like, is there any point in going after them? I mean, to me, they're not breaking the law, right?
I guess it's just frustrating for people that are serious about the research and trying to find real answers, when you have those people that are really the most successful people in the business, if you will, are the people that are hoaxing things and not being genuine with what they're putting out. And they know it, and they're doing it for money specifically.
Yeah.
I think that's what really bothers me.
Yeah, it's a moral question. And sometimes there's the other side of this, dude. There's the delusional side, So I think that maybe one person that I think maybe really did hurt his own channel, Christopher Noel. and his kooky porcupine, like 20,000 different videos he's put out now trying to show everybody it's not a porcupine. He may have heard it himself, but it wasn't because everybody looked at it and went porcupine and we're going to call that out. It's just that everybody looked at it and went, that's a porcupine, right? You know, like even his audience.
Yeah, but I just did an interview. It's coming out on Sasquatch Odyssey tomorrow. A guy that I interviewed up in Canada was talking about Christopher Noel and the great work that he was doing in Sasquatch.
Yes, you still have that too. There are plenty of people who stand by his side. Again, I've participated in stop short of saying going after, but like calling out, right? I mean, I'm the only person that ever got Think Hunter to retract one of his videos. It was because of me and a guy named Tommy John. He and I worked together and got Think Hunter to retract one of his videos. When somebody puts their hands up in the air and tells me, hey, just leave me alone, I respect that. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to leave you alone.
Good for you. He used some of my stuff without asking me on his channel, and I can't even get him to return an email, much less take a video down. I'm going to let you go. We got another caller in the hopper. I appreciate you calling in. As always, man, I'll catch up with you off the air at some point in time. Have a good one. Let me call this person back. If you've called us and we missed your call, I'm going to call you back. So just be ready for that. Let me call him back. Were you going to say something, Wayne? Do we have something else going on?
Yeah, I was going to agree. The comment there, Squatch Holler, I believe was his name, saying what I'm thinking. How many people of these 100 and something thousand subscribers that Todd Standing has, how many are there just to see the bullshit?
I think you said that in the past. You've compared Todd and some of these other folks to Howard Stern. I think it's the what's he going to say next. That's Roger from Tennessee, my buddy there, man. I appreciate you being a part of the show. Whoever this is, I'm about to call you back, so I hope you're ready to answer your phone.
Hello.
Hey, this is Brian and Wayne at That Bigfoot Podcast. You're live on the air with us. Who am I talking to?
Brian, this is Troy in Tennessee.
What's going on, Troy?
Not a lot, man. Sitting on the back porch listening to you guys, having a good evening.
Awesome. What you got to say? You got a comment or a question?
I'm curious, and this is going to probably get a giggle or two. Is the interest in the horses with Bigfoot, is that purely sexual? Is that why the horses run scared and afraid?
Funny, Wayne mentioned that it is a possibility. I've heard some weird stories about people talking about that kind of interaction with Sasquatch and horses. I've never personally talked to anybody who's had that experience, but I know I've heard those documented stories in the past on other shows. We steer away from that, honestly. But yeah, I think it runs the gamut, Troy. There's that kind of story, and then there's braiding the hair. And I've even heard stories of horses having their heads torn off. So it runs the gamut of, frankly, kumbaya and braiding hair to sexual stories and then violence, honestly, in certain cases. It's definitely an interesting thing, man. I don't know. What say you, Troy? Have you heard stories that people have told?
The only stories I've heard have been the one, I think if someone had a Mustang or something that the horses, I don't remember what it was, rear quarter half or something was torn off. Then one of y'all actually in the lead up on one of the shows, I believe.
Yeah, it's on mine.
I guess my next question would be, or statement would rather be about the campsite in the video. I'm a former scout leader of 8 years. I can tell you that nobody spent any time in that camp. The grass is not flattened. You look around the tent, you look around under the carpet that's there. It's completely staged. There's nothing whatsoever real about it.
There's no fire ring.
Like Wayne stated, he spent time in the woods. I've spent time in the woods. Nobody goes out, sets up a tent and a campsite like that and walks away. You've got to move around the area. It was completely staged. Just my opinion.
I definitely agree,
enjoy
man.
The show, guys, and really appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, Troy. You have a good night, man.
You too.
Yeah, so the callers can't hear me, right?
Sounds like it. We're going to have to get the technical side of the show. I'm going to fire every single one of you right now on the air. I think I just fired myself. We've got another caller I'm going to call back. So
here we go.
Amongst yourselves until we get this person on. Oh, this is my favorite part of the call-in show. You have reached the bank after we've closed.
Hey, you've reached Pat.
Oh, it's the wrong number. It's not who I meant to call.
Calling Pat back.
I don't think there's anybody else in the queue. You guys are letting us down tonight. We had so many more callers on the last live show. I don't know what's going on tonight. Is everybody just scared to talk to us? What's going on?
I wrecked him. Yeah, Troy's saying he didn't hear me at all.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to work on that. We'll get the technical difficulties worked out, folks. I promise. But it's fun. It's all in good fun, right? Get on our soapbox. We call a few people out and get loud and get proud. And I don't know. It irks me. I get what Pat is saying. People aren't breaking the law. There's no law against putting that crap out there. But again, when you're as passionate as we are about the subject, it just irks me, man. There's so many good people out there. Like Roger. I've had Roger on the show. He comes on, he shares his experience. He has evidence he shares with people openly, and he gets a lot of crap for some of the stuff he shares. And he's a legit dude. If it doesn't look like some of these videos, like this clown is putting on, or this clown's putting on, or this clown puts out there as Bigfoot, you put your video out that doesn't look like that, people are like, oh, that doesn't look like anything like a Bigfoot because this is what they look like. And it's just wrong. It's just wrong. I don't know. What say you guys? I'm looking at the chat now to see if there's anything else.
Brian, something that you mentioned earlier, I just want to touch on a little bit. There's no telling how much phenomenal video or photos are out there just tucked away, hidden, that people won't share for the fear of ridicule, of people calling them a hoaxer and a liar. And it's because all of these other people that are doing it. It's got to where you could get HD quality video of two Sasquatch mating in your backyard, and then somebody's going to call it a hoax. What's the point in sharing it?
Yeah, I got to agree with you, man. I don't know. It just irks me. So I guess the bottom line, we can't change the world, but at least you guys that listen to us know where we stand on this. You know where we're coming from. Just look at it critically. If something doesn't smell right, it's probably because it isn't right. If you sniff the milk and it doesn't smell like it should be drank, don't drink the milk because it's going to make you sick. And that's really what happens with these folks that are hoaxing stuff. It just irks me that we just can't get the word out enough because we don't have a channel where we're faking stuff. If we were putting fake stuff out there, we'd have hundreds of thousands of people, and then we could gather them all around and say, hey, stop looking at our channel and then stop subscribing to these other 15 channels that you're subscribed to because it's all fake and these people are just out to get some clicks and make a little money off of you and Bigfoot stuff. I don't know what else we got to talk about tonight. We've covered horses, all kinds of weird things that could probably get us censored on YouTube with Bigfoot and horses. And then we got into this hoaxer dude. Let me see what Russ has got to say. Brian, is there a way you could vet the videos, pass muster, and you build up more credibility when they come out? I don't know. That's a tough question, Russ. It's tough because we've had this conversation many times about people like Todd, right? I think his videos are hoax. I don't think they're real. I don't know how to prove that. I don't know that anybody can prove it, really. Outside of a confession from these people saying, yeah, I hoaxed that and this is how I did it. They know that going in. It's so tough to prove a hoax, but it's easy to perpetuate. You can just keep hoaxing and keep putting the same similar stuff out there and saying, look, it's the same Bigfoot. He came back again because it's the same guy in a suit or whatever the case may be. And if you put enough stuff between you and the audience with sticks and trees or whatever the case may be, it's going to be easier to run the hoax and to run the con as long as you want to run it. And then once you get people hooked, it's clear that they don't leave. We've proven that over and over again. Hey, Brandon, what's going on, man? Yes, thanks for the hat. Brandon gave me this hat. We were supposed to be signing this hat and giving it away when I was out in Idaho, but I decided to keep it. Y'all go check out Squatch. He's got some cool stuff on his website. If you're into Bigfoot stuff, he's got all kinds of cool merch. I guess that's it, man. It's almost an hour in, unless you got anything else that you want to put out there for the masses. And I don't see anybody else in the queue to talk to us. I guess we scared everybody off with the first couple of callers.
I did notice a few names in here that didn't stick out. So I'd like to invite y'all to head over to my channel, Paranormal Odyssey, and check us out on Our Lives. We would love to have you. But until then, guys, till we can holler at you again, y'all take care of each other. Take care of yourselves. And we will see you soon.